Okay, so basically we're making our first part to begin our braiding for the sew-in. So we're just going to clip off the rest of the hair, and our first braid is starting in the top of the head. You want to make sure that the braids aren't too big because we don't want the sewing to be bulky. And again, the braids will differ from style to style, depends on what style you're doing. But for the style we're doing today, we're just going to braid around the area that's going to be parted off for her side part. And connect each braid. And again, you want to make sure that the braids are not too loose because you want to make sure that the sewing is secure, because the hair that we're using can be used over. It can be washed. And as you can see, we're a little more than halfway through with Hakima's hair braiding portion. We actually gave her zigzag parts from left to right, and we just connected the parts at the top and bottom where the braid ended. So we're just going to finish off the right portion of her hair, and then we'll start with the sewing in the extensions. This braiding portion can vary in time depending on the length of the hair, and you can always add extensions if the hair is short. You can add braiding hair to help in the process. But Hakima her hair was thick enough and she has long enough hair to just braid her hair. During these last few braids, I'm not going to continue to braid from the inside out. I'm going to take this end and braid from the outside in, just because I prefer my thicker braids to be more in the inside than the end on the outside. So our last braids, we're going to start on the edge versus just continuing going from the outside in. And I like to leave a little bit of the edge out just for a more natural look, and in case she wants to pull it back some. So just make sure that your last braids are braided all the way to the end so that they're nice and tight so that they don't unravel, which will cause your braids to loosen up. And as you can see, usually the end braids are a little fatter. That's why I don't like them on the outside. I like to keep them in the inside because I can sew them down in the middle. I want my exterior and my top area to be as smaller than the middle area. I want to try to keep the braids a little smaller because that's where you have to camouflage the hair with the weave, so you don't want it bulky. And what I like to do is put a little bit of spritz and then just lock it in the flat iron. And then you can sew this down. Usually the braids in the inside are a little thicker than your exterior. These braids are usually a little thinner, a little smaller. So I like to end on the exterior versus ending. I could have brought the braids all the way around and ended here, but I didn't want to end my braid on the outside. I wanted to end on the inside. So I took the braids on her right side and came in. And these are the braids. These are a little thicker, so I can camouflage these in the middle of her hair better. I can just put them down the center of her part. Stitch the two loose braids down to the braids that are already braided to her scalp. So we just take the needle through, and then we're going to hook it back through the end of the thread that's already knotted. And we're actually going to use the braids to help secure the braids that's already braided to her scalp to help secure these braids. Securing these end pieces, the end of her braid, so that they don't come loose. Just go through a couple times with your needle to tighten the thread up. Make sure you get a little knot at the end so that your thread doesn't come loose. And that feels good. Let's cut the end. So the braiding portion of Hakima's hair is complete. So now we're getting ready to go into adding her wefts. We just want to show you the completed braid and how we attach the loose braids to the braids that were already cornrowed onto her scalp. So we anchored them down with thread so we know that they're secure and tight. And then we're going to start by adding the Remy Capitalist extensions, also known as RC extensions. We're going to sew these onto Hakima's hair. We're going to start at the back, the nape of her neck, and we're going to work our way up her head. And I look forward to seeing the end result so you can see the blend of her hair to the Remy Capitalist hair. We're just going to take our needle and we're going to put it right through the weft of the hair. And we're going to go right through the braid. We're just going to pull it all the way through, and like we did with the braids, when we were securing the braids with the thread, we're just going to take the thread through the end before the knot and lock that in. Okay, when you get to the end, you're taking the needle through the weft and through the braid. But at this end braid, you actually want to go a little bit up the braid. Then we're going to fold our weft to make it go back. So here we're going to fold our braid and we're going to take our needle go under the braid and we're going to lock that weft in at the corner. And you can go over that area a couple times just to make sure that it's tight, and try not to make it bulky. You don't want it to stick up. And then we're just going to move on to our next area, and we're just going to do this all the way back across to the right side. Just putting your needle through your weft and then through your braid. And depending on how full you want the hair, that'll how close you put the tracks will determine how full. If you want it really full, then you'll put the tracks very close. But if you want it to look natural, you don't want it too full. So you don't want the tracks too close. You just want them close enough so you can't see between the tracks. So we're taking this braid all the way over to the right. We're going to take it all the way to the right, to her, this side of her temple. And we're going to lock it in here, and then we're going to go back across to your left side. So we're doing the same thing on the right side that we did on the left. We folded the weft over so we can continually go to each side. And I just want you to look at the silkiness of the hair and how the hair falls. And you always go in with your new needle, go over where you left off with your old. So we're going to take the weft up a little bit on the left side, and then we're going to fold it and take it back to the right side. So the same procedure through the weft and through the braid. As we're getting to the top, these tracks will be a little closer to one another. Make sure everything is covered up. Okay, we're all the way over on your right now, and we're so close to the top. We're not going to do the fold over technique. We're just going to cut the weft because we want it as flat as possible, because we need it to look as natural as possible, and we don't want it bulging out any more than it needs to. So if we fold it over now, it's going to be too big. So we're just going to cut it, and then we're just going to use the end of our thread just to lock it down and secure that in. So we're almost done the completion of our sewing. We just have about 1 or 2 more tracks we're going to put up in the top, and then we'll start our styling process. Just want to lock this hair out of our way. So we're going to cut this weft here, and then we're going to secure it with our thread, and then we're going to add 1 more weft to the top to complete our look. Just threading the needle through the loop right before the knot. This is our last weft here, so it's close to the part, and we just want to make sure we get under the weft. We've completed our sewing. All the hair is sewn in and secured and tight. So now we're going to do our blending. We're going to blend the natural hair into the sewn in extension hair, and then we're going to cut it and style it. So in the blending process, because her hair is natural, we want to press it out to make it blend nicely with the extension hair. So we're going to start with her edges first. I'm just using a hot flat iron. You can see how well the hair is blended. Her hair is blended with the Indian Remy hair. We haven't used any product on the hair, and it has a nice silky shine. You can see how her hair falls and flows in with the texture.